I hope you all are having an amazing day. An amazing day. I hope you all are having. Today was a great day for me. So, this is going to be part three. You have to go back on my channel to see the first part and the second part of I know who the blank I married, but why? So, go back and check out part one and part two. So that way it'll catch you up to speed. This is part three. And two, I know who the F I married, but why? But why? That's what I keep asking myself. Even after all these years, it's like, but why? Why? That's probably why I got all this gray hair. Because I'm still trying to figure out why. Yeah, that's probably why I got all this gray hair after 30 some years. Why? But why did you? I'm like, when you young, when you young and stuff, and you be like, yeah, I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love. Everybody been in love, right? Everybody been in love. And then when you ain't in love no more, you be like, why in the world? And then when you're not in love anymore, you be like, why in the world did I marry? Was Why in the world was I with that person? When y'all break up, right? That's when you wanna ask that's when you wanna ask all the questions. Like, why in the world? Why was I why? What was I thinking? Like, I don't even know. I like have no idea. So this gonna start off. I ended part two, and I got married in 1989. Got married in 1989, December 1989. So that ended part two. So this is gonna be part three, as to I know who the f I married, but why? And why did I stay so long? Now that part, even to this day, I still ask myself, why did you stay so long? Why did you stay 30 years? Well, it was a long time, okay? It was a long time. So I just be like, and I honestly, I should have left a long, 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 long time ago, which I did leave, like back in I think 1995 or something like that. That I did leave, right? But you know, things whatever. So I'm gonna pick up the story in 1990, 89, 90. So this is part three of I know who the f I married, but why? But why? And why did I stay so long? That is the $1 trillion question. Why did I stay so long? I still can't wrap my head around why did I stay so long. It's just so crazy, right? So, um, so this we're gonna pick up the story 1990. So February 1990, I moved to California, and I was so happy. I was so excited, right? And because I was married, I was leaving the state that I grew up in and was raised in and everything. So I was going to be with my husband, right? So made it to California um, in 1990, made it to California. And he was in the military, right? So if you know anything about, so we lived, we were in California, we was in 29 Palms. the desert. The desert. I don't know what it is now, but back then, the desert, right? So, got out there. So, when you get there at night, if you go at nighttime, so it's like if you ever go to California, you know it's in the desert. It's like you just have to go, right? So, got there. Sorry. Got there to 29 Palms. So when you coming in, you like going over a hill, going over down a hill, right? So way in the distance, it's all these lights. You think it's like a big city, right? You think it's a big city, and you're like, oh my God, I'm in a big city, but it's at night. So all you see is all these lights, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. In the morning when I wake up, I'm gonna get my husband to take me to where I saw all those lights. But last night coming in, so when I got there, I woke up the next morning, and I was like, yeah, let's go where I saw those lights at when we were coming in last night. He said, oh, that's the Marine Corps base. I said, the Marine Corps base? He's like, yeah. I said, oh. I said, wow, that, and I'm thinking like, wow, that was a lot of lights. That's a, that's where I want to be, right? So we we get up that morning, and we go yard selling and stuff like that. So once I woke up in the morning, right, and we left to go yard selling, and he to go eat or something. I don't remember that part. But so as we pulling out where we lived at, y'all, y'all, I wanted to go home. I want to go back to Mississippi. It was desert. It was no grass. It was just a completely different place, right? And I was like, oh my God, where? It's not the same place that I saw last night coming in. That's what I'm thinking, right? And so, hey, so I'm just looking and looking like, oh my gosh, where am I? Where am I, right? And so he was like, um, this is we gonna live. And I'm thinking, we gonna live here? We gonna live here? And he was like, yeah. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I wanna go home. So anyway, so I got past all that. So that was in February of 1990. So so I got there February 1990. And if you know anything about the military, like, they always gone. The guys, they always gone because they have to train and stuff in case anything breaks out, right? So he so I got there. I think I got there on like February 2nd. And y'all, do y'all want to know? Yo, guess how I got. Now, I come from Mississippi, right? Get the map out. Mississippi is down here. California is way out there, right? Y'all, I rode the Greyhound bus to California way back then, right? I rode the Greyhound bus to California, which I was 19, so it was fun to me. It was so much fun because you meet people and stuff like that, right? So got out there and everything. So he well, I got this it's getting kind of cold. So got out there, and so he showed me around and everything like that. So I was like, wow, this is not what I imagined it to be, right? And so I was like, I said, and so I was like, I said, so we got there, and so he showed me around and everything, and I was like, wow, I guess I just have to make the best of this, because this is where I'm gonna be, right? So, and he had to leave. So I was there by myself. So now, mind you, I'm like a young girl. I never been anywhere as far as like by myself, having to stay by myself. So I think he left for training like for a week or something after I got there, something like that. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what in the world am I gonna do? So we had a SUV, we had a Blazer at the time. So it was like, um, so we had a Blazer, and it was a stick shift, like a 5 speed. Well, I couldn't really, I could drive it. Well, I knew how. He taught me how to drive the truck, right? But the issue was where we lived at. When you go up the hill, it was a red light. Well, if you know anything about driving a stick shift, if you don't balance out the brake, the gas and the clutch, you gonna roll back. You gonna roll back. And every time the light would catch me, so I would go get this girl. She knew how to drive stick shift, of course, better than I did. So I would go get her to get me up the hill, right? And so, cause I was scared to go up the hill, so I was by myself. So I'm like, gosh, is this what life gonna be like? That I'm gonna have to be here by myself because he, have to go train and stuff like that. I didn't take that into consideration because I didn't know. So that was February, and so he was gone training like here and there for a week or some days or whatever the case was. So I'm like, wow, I don't really know. I don't really know about this situation, right? But I stayed, and so time passed, and then back then in 1990, um, the thing broke out in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia, and they were sending people over there for that situation. So he left in August of 1990. So that meant I was by myself. I was by myself in California, and I was working, but because of the guys was leaving, so a lot of stuff was closing down. And I was like, wow. I mean, I had met people, but it was just like I don't know, it was just like a shock. And so then when we were at the place, like the guys would get ready to leave and stuff, so he told me, he's no no. So I told him, I said, well, you could just leave. You could just leave. Like, you don't have to stay. You could like leave. He like, I'ma leave. They gonna be looking for me. I was like, we could go to Canada. I ain't know no better. I was like, we could go to Canada. And he's like, no, I'm gonna be put in jail if I leave. And we were on the base waiting for them to bus up to go. And so I said, yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't want you to get in any trouble, which he wasn't gonna do anyway. So I um so he left, and then I was there by myself. And being 19 years old and being by yourself, it's like, wow. I mean, you have to grow up really, really fast, because you're by yourself. You're in a strange place, a new place. You're in a new place, and then you happen to meet new people that you don't know, and like try to build relationships with and stuff. That was a lot. That was a lot. So then he was gone like 7 months. So 1990, I moved to California. He left for Saudi Arabia. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, whichever one. August 1990. So I was out there by myself. And, but it was different, but I wasn't scared though. I wasn't scared. I was just like, hi. I was just like, I was ready to take on the adventure. I looked at it as an adventure because, when you young, it's like you have no fear. When you're young, you're ready to take on the world. I mean, it's like whatever come your way, you ready when you're young. But as you get older, you like, I can't do that. And when you get older, you're like, oh no, I can't take chances. No, I have to. No, 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 no. I can't take any chances. And so we were out. So I was out there in 1990 by myself, and then 1991 came. So my husband was still gone. Um, and then they had the invasion of when Iraq invaded Kuwait. That was in 1991. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was around January 1991 when they invaded Kuwait. So, and once they invaded Kuwait, when Saddam invaded Kuwait, y'all, I was so scared. I was so scared that the people that come and tell you that your loved one has been, been, taken out or whatever in whatever manner, I was so I was so scared every day that they were gonna knock on my door and tell me that my husband, something happened because they had went to war with Saddam, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I was just so scared. I was so scared. I was so stressed out at 19 years old. Why I got the shingles? I got the shingles at night. Old people get that, right? Or older people get the shingles. Baby, I got the shingles at 19 years old. I sure did, and went to the hospital, and they was like, well, that's really unusual because normally older people, senior citizens get it. But they said that shingles can come on with stress. So if you're stressed, it could, bring, or if you had chicken pox and you're stressed, and then, it could bring the shingles out. And so I was like, oh wow. But y'all, I'm gonna tell you, if you ever been in the military or been associated with anybody in the military, it's a completely different world. It is a completely different world. But one thing I can say about the military, being in that military family, you are really a family. You are really a family. You make genuine connections with people, friendships, and everybody. You treat everybody like you're actually family and stuff. And you have support and all of that. So January 1991, Saddam invaded Kuwait, and everything was going down. So my husband, he was one of the ones that was calling in the strikes and stuff to take whoever out. So I really was nervous, right, when they started the war and stuff. And like I said, I was so scared and nervous. I was so scared and nervous because anything could happen. Anything could happen, right? And so then I think March of 1991, that's when my husband came home and from Kuwait, and from Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, they right all the same, right there together. And so he came home, and of course I was happy and excited that he was home. But what I had begun to notice after he came from Iraq, that something was different, right? Something was different with him. And I was just like, no, you didn't leave here like this. You know what I'm saying? You didn't leave here like this, but you coming back different, right? And so I was like, and I brought to his attention. I was like, you need to go talk to someone. And now one thing I could say, like during that time, I don't know how it is now when the guys go like off the war or come back, how it is, but back then it was different. It was different for the guys and the girls. And I was like, to my husband, I was like, you need to go and talk to somebody because I noticed that he was different. He had changed and everything. And of course, being a man, they don't want to go get no help. They don't want to go talk to nobody. They rather just suffer and have you suffering too, and have they rather just have everybody suffering. And so he didn't go and stuff. And then I ended up getting pregnant in '91, and so I was just like, oh my gosh, what I'm gonna do with a baby? What in the world I'm gonna do with a baby? But I was excited though. We were excited in '91, and then 1990 to 91. Then 92 came. So they were supposed to go to Japan, but they pushed their time back because the time when they were supposed to go to Japan, they were in the war, over there in the war. So they pushed it back. So when they pushed it back to like January of 1992, no, February 1992. Of course, I was pregnant. I was like, I didn't want to be in California by myself because, I'm by myself. I'm pregnant, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm by myself, and it was a scary experience for me to be by myself. So I went back home and had my baby. Then I guess about shoot like couple. Well, no, about a month later. Then I went back to California. And so I went back, and this is 92. We're in 92 now. So I went back. That was in 1992 after I had my baby. And things was really, really good, but I still saw that change, right? I still saw the change in him, and I was just like, dang, something not right. Something not right. And, he done changed since he went there. So that was in August 1992. Then, after they done went to war in 1991, no, yeah, 1991, well, the stuff kicked off in uh, um, Africa. So now, being the job that my husband had, of course, they were going, right? So they had to go over there to Africa. Now, mind you, these are the same people that just came back in 1991 from fighting over there in Kuwait. Now you sending these same people to another domestic war, a war over there in 1992, the end of 1992. So of course, they not gonna, some ain't gonna be right. Somebody ain't gonna be right, right? So he left December 1992 to go to Somalia to go help them with whatever they had going on over there. So he was gone like 4 months. So he came back uh, April 1993. So when he came back in April 1993, that's when things things just started going downhill real fast, right? And so he was much different than he was when he came from Saudi Arabia, when, versus when he came back from Africa, right? From Somalia. And so I was just noticing, paying attention, right? So I told him, I said, you need to go and talk to somebody. You need to get some assistance, get some help with your mental. And of course, being a man, he didn't want to, but I made an appointment. So we went, well, not we, but I made an appointment for him to go see somebody. And he went, but he only went one time. He only went one time, but he did go. So I was like, okay, well, at least he did go that one time. But I thought he was going to continue to go. But one thing I've learned about men, it's really hard for a lot of men to really open up and to let people know how they really feel and what they really going through. It's really hard for a lot of men to do that. To feel, I guess, to feel safe, for them to feel safe. And I was like, why you didn't go? Why? Because I saw how it was affecting our relationship with each other. You know, him being different and changed since he came from Somalia, right? And so he's like, I don't want them people in my business. I'm like, they need to be in your business. They need to be in your business, right? So I couldn't make him, so he didn't go. But our relationship just started to just go downhill, right? It just really, really started to go downhill when he came back from Africa. And I'm just like, that was in 93. So I'm just like, dang, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I could. Then I had a baby. Then I was going to school, and it was just a lot, right? And then he still had to go to work, so that means he still had to go to training, and just a whole lot of stuff, right? And I'm trying to I'm trying to sympathize and with him had been to been to war in Saudi Arabia, then him going over there, and they fighting that war, whatever was going on over there in Somalia. I'm trying to be as supportive as I can, right? But it just started to they just started to get worse and worse and worse, right? And and I talk to you and I tell you, look, I need this and that from you, and then you get to a place to where you're like, to me, like you really don't care about what I'm trying to tell you, right? So, 93, it was just like, it was a mess. It was a mess. Okay. So, yeah, so that's the end of 93. 94 come, that's a mess too. 93 a miss, 94 a miss. So it just started going, our marriage, our relationship had just started going downhill after these two events that occurred. The first one when he went to Saudi Arabia to uh, fight over there, fight Saddam. Then when he went to Somalia to fight, when I forgot what actually went down in Somalia, but when that occurred, but I'm still trying to stick with you, right? I'm still trying to be supportive with you, though. I'm still trying to hang in there with you, right? And so, um, that's 92. That's 93. 93 was bad. 94 came. It was just continuing to get worse and get worse, right? Then 95 came. Well, by the time 94 came, I had had enough. I had literally had enough. I was like, I cannot do this. I cannot do it. I'm gonna lose my mind. Then I had this baby, and the baby, that's a whole nother story with this baby, right? And so I end up going to therapy because the baby, my baby, he would not, he wouldn't sleep at night. So my baby wouldn't sleep at night. When I tell y'all that baby like to drove me crazy, my baby like to drove me crazy. I had to go to therapy because of that baby. It was just, and then I didn't have no family out there. I had friends and stuff, but I didn't have any family. It was just me, my baby, and my husband. And it was a lot. It was a lot because he had to go to work. He had to go leave and go train. And it was just me and the baby. And it was just so much that I, you know, went through, right? And so in 1990, so I was done 94. I was just like, I can't do this no more. I'm not going to do this. Something got to change. So then I would tell him, look, this is what I need from you, and whatever, whatever. And so, of course, you know how men are. Oh, I'm going to change, I'm going to change, I'm going to change. They don't be changing. Not the way you need them to change. And so by the time the end of 94 came, I was like, I'm leaving this joker. I can't do this no more. I'm taking my baby and we are leaving. So I left March of 1995, and he was getting out July 1995 because he did his time. So he was getting out the military. Um, but I was like, I gotta go. I can't stay here. I was about to literally lose my mind with everything that was going on, right? So, but I really told him that I was leaving. I wanted to leave, but I didn't want to leave. But I felt I had to leave for my own sanity. And when I told him that I was gonna leave, right? In a little bit, I wanted him to ask me not to go. I wanted him to say, no, I don't want you to leave. I don't want you to go. I want my baby to go. I want us to, work this thing out, right? But he didn't say that. But he didn't say he wanted me to stay. He did not say he wanted me to stay. And he said, okay. And it hurt my feelings that he said, okay, that he didn't say, no, I don't want you to go. I want you and my baby to stay. He didn't say it. So I was like, okay, well. And I told him in advance because I really wanted him to say, no, I don't want you to go. I want you to stay. And so he didn't say that. So I said, okay, well, me and my baby out of here. So we left March, and he was getting out in July. So we left and went back down south, and we was there. Then he got out of the military in July uh 95. So we were living down south. So he got out. He came back to Mississippi, but he was in the northern part of Mississippi, right? So we were talking whatever, but I didn't like where I was at. I did not like where I was at. So I was like, well, I have one or two options. I could stay here where I'm at and don't like it, or I could just go ahead and pack me and my baby up and just go on back with my husband, right? That ain't really what I wanted to do, but at the time, I felt like that's what I needed and or had to do at the time, or was the best option at the time or whatever. So I did that and moved. That was in 1990. That was July 1995. No, 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 no. That probably was like August 1995 after he got the Marine Corps. So we got back together in some 1995, August 1995. We got back together, and things was going good. Things was going good, and we was working and trying to make it and all this and all that and stuff, and things was good. I'll say all the way through the end of 95. Then 1996 things started out good, but they end up not good too. They ended up not good too. They did. They ended up not good. And I was thinking like, why did I come back to him? Why did I come back to him? I should have stayed where I was, even though I was unhappy where I was. So, but I was like, you should have stayed where you were. If you'd have known it was gonna go back to being like it was, you should have stayed where you was. But you don't know, and you be hoping things work out. You be hoping things work out, but they don't always work out. So, uh, uh so that was 1996. It was just like, but I still hung in there, right? I still hung in there, and I was like, no, I'm gonna hang in here. I'm not gonna go anywhere, whatever, whatever, whatever. And it was bad. Then 1997 came. Now during this time, it's still bad. The end of 94, 95. I'm sorry. Uh, 90. The end of 95 was good because we got back together. Uh, 96, it was good up until a point. Then it got back. Then it started getting bad right between us, and so I was like, "Girl, you should have just stayed where the heck you was." But I was like, "Hey, I ain't know." Then 1997 came, and it was like bad and good, good and bad. It was like wishy washy our relationship with each other, and so then 1997 came, and we started school. So he was going to school too, and right around the corner from where we lived at the community college. So we both was in school, and it was good. And then it was good till it wasn't good. Okay, and so and so things just started going downhill. It just started going downhill. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I cannot do this. I cannot do this anymore. And he ended up leaving me in North Mississippi by myself, and I had a car, but the car broke, so I had no car. I had a job. I had two jobs actually. I had a job at this place called Oxford Wine Cable, and then I had a job at, I think it was Albertsons, at the grocery store. I worked in the deli. So so when he left, so my car had broke. So I went. I didn't have no car. So when he left, I was catch a ride with this lady, right? And I rode with her. You know how people, they get tired of picking you up. They get tired of picking you up, dropping you off. They'll come up with a story as to why they can't pick you up, drop you off no more. So that ended. So then I still had my job at Kroger. So my friend Lydia, she would work the evening time, and she'll pick me up and bring me home and stuff like that. So then, y'all, let me tell you what this joker did. So he left me and up in Oxford by myself, and because my baby was down south with his grandma. This joker left me. He left me by myself, and didn't know how I was gonna make it enough. So I was in school, and the college was around the corner down across the street. So I was in school, but I had to walk to school because I didn't have no transportation. So it would be nighttime when I got out of school. So as I'm walking from school, and then once I get into coming into my neighborhood, it was dark. Like it was a whole lot of trees, like bushes. And so I was scared. And I was like, I'm gonna have to drop out of school because I'm scared to walk home at night because I don't know if somebody's paying attention, starting to pay attention to me walking by myself from school. It would be like 8, 8:30 at night. And I was like, I don't know if somebody's, starting to pay attention to me walking from school at night and be laying in wait in these bushes and, do something to me. So I said, I'm just going to go ahead and drop out of school. So I dropped out of school, and then I just had so I didn't have my other job because the lady didn't want to pick me up and drop me off no more. So I ain't had that job no more, but I still had my job at Kroger. So I had that, and I had saved up some money. I was able to save up money, and I went to go see if I could get me a car because I was just gonna go ahead and stay up there. But then it didn't work out me getting a car, so I was like, you know what? Let me just take my money and go on back to my mama's house, and that way I can see my baby, and I can see my baby, and also I can just get a job where I used to work at when I get down there, and pack up the house and everything. So I just called it a loss, and I moved back down there, down south Mississippi. So then that did we in '97. So I moved back to my mama house in I like the end of October, beginning of November. So I moved back. I got my job back where I was working at when I was living down there. So I did that, and I was miserable. I was miserable, and so I did that. So then, um, he and I we started talking or whatever, whatever, and stuff. And so one day, right? So this boy that I know, well, I knew, he done passed on now. We were friends. We all grew up together because my mom and his mom was best friends, right? So he had came by my mama house, and he was like, I'm gonna come back. I'm about to go so and so so and so. I'm gonna come back and pick you up, and we're gonna go and get a daiquiri in Slidell. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll be ready. Well, in between that time, my husband came by my mama house, and he saw the guy, right, and he went crazy. He went ballistic. So I was at my mama house by myself because she was at the church. And so I got scared. So I ran in the house, and I tried to close the door behind me to keep him from coming in, right? Well, I wasn't fast enough. So he got in the door, and I ran to the back to my mama room and tried to close the door and lock it. And He hit the door and he knocked the whole frame off, right? I said, oh, my mama gonna get you. Cause my mama don't play by her house. To this day, my mama do not play by her house. And so I was like, my mama gonna get you. And so I called my mama at the church, and I told her what happened. So she came, and her and my brother daddy came, and he just knocked it off the thing. So my brother daddy, he fixed it, right. And so, excuse me. So then my mama, she got mad with me. She got mad with me. She gonna be like, she fussing and cussing and all that, and then she got all up in my face and stuff. And I was like, Mom, you can say whatever you want. Just don't get up on me. Don't brush up on me. Don't, don't get up on me. And da 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 da. She was da da da. And I was like, you know what? I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call my friend to come pick me up. My friend lived in New Orleans across the river. And I called her and I told her, and she said okay. And she was married to her husband at the time. So she was like, okay, I'm about to come. We about to come down there to get you. So they came from New Orleans across the river to uh, pick you to come and pick me up. And I said okay. So so they came, got me. I left and went to their house across the river. And I stayed. That happened on a Saturday, and I was there Saturday and Sunday. Then my cousin, they live in Louisiana. I mean New Orleans too. So they found out that I was across the river. So my sister had called me and she's like, "Girl, we coming to pick you up tomorrow." That was gonna be Monday. We coming to pick you up tomorrow because you need to be over here with family. Da, da, da. I was like, okay, whatever. I was going through so much. When I tell you, I was going through so much mentally and emotionally. I was going through so much. And I didn't realize how much I was going through until here within the last year that I've been thinking about everything that went down or that happened, right? And I'm just like, wow, it was a lot. So I was by my friend's house until Monday. Then my sister and them, they came pick me up that Monday. And this all in 1997. Now we in November 1997 now. And then we got back on their side of the river. I mean, got back to, yeah, on the other side of the river. And so I was like, I gotta get a job, because I wasn't going back to my mama's house. I was like, I gotta get a job. I gotta get a job. So I went to the first place I saw. It was Rallies. And so, because it was on the bus line. Come to find out, I ain't know nothing about how to ride the bus. I ain't know nothing, y'all. And so I stopped at Rallies and talked, and the manager name was Sandy. She had me right on the spot. Y'all, back in 1997, y'all know how much I was making? $4.35 an hour in 1997. $4.35 an hour. That's how much I was making in 1997 at Rallies. And then I got a job at Rallies, and then I went to the mall, and back then they had a store called Mervin's, and I got a job at Mervin's. So when I would get off at Rallies at 5, I walk right across the street by Sam's and wait for the bus and catch the bus onto the mall to Mervin's. And Mervin's was the only store that closed late. Mervin's would close at 11. But then, if you work night, you got to fold the clothes, you got to arrange the store. So you'll get out of there by midnight, right? So I hated when I had to work late like that because my cousin they were supposed to pick me up. Why they be asleep? They be asleep. And one night my cousin them was asleep, and I had to catch the last bus till in the morning. I caught from the mall. Well, the bus driver, her lazy self, it might have been a guy. I don't know. They lazy self. And I didn't really know the area yet because I'm still learning the area. So they turned instead of going all the way around where I needed them to go so I could get off on my stop. So the lady like, well, whoever getting off, so and so, so and so. And I was like, well, I'll get off. I said, but I don't know where I'm at. And baby, it was like midnight that lady said, well, I had to get off the bus because she wasn't gonna go around. And this, it might have about 11 something. And this lady was outside, and I said, "Ma'am, I'm trying to get." Told her what I was trying to get to, and she was like, "Oh, just keep straight on down, and then make a left and walk all the way back." Now, mind you, this 11:30 at night. I was scared because I didn't know where I was at, right? And I said, "Oh my God, I was about to cry." Cause back then I cried, I cried stuff, and so I finally made it to my cousin's house. She said, "I'm sorry, I forgot about you," and she didn't forget about me no more. But that night she forgot about it. So I got a job and stuff. I was working, and then my baby came, and so we stayed with my cousin from like November '97 until the summer '98, because I was like, my baby he come back from summer. I want He was gonna be starting school. He gonna be in the first grade. I was like, I want my baby to have his own room. I said, I don't want, cause at this I left part out, cause I forgot, cause my husband ended up coming to stay with us at my cousin's house. So it would be my husband, and our son. Yeah, always in a twin bed. Why we slept in a twin bed from January all the way to May? All three of us. It wasn't a regular twin bed. It was a big size twin bed. I don't know what you call that, but y'all, we did. We did. And looking back, and even my son, he's like, yeah, I told my wife, yeah, we all slept in a twin bed. He was like in the first grade. We all slept in a twin bed. I'm like, what in the world? But we did. So then finally, I had found an apartment, a townhouse, and we moved in and stuff. That's that was in the summer of '98. So I'm gonna stop right there, cause yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm gonna stop on the summer '98, and then I'll come back with part four another day. But thanks for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all have a good night. I'll be back with part four. I don't know, maybe the weekend. All right, y'all. Uh oh, I done dropped the phone again. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Good night.